Happy December, everybody! We are officially in December, which means it is time for some Christmas content. You have seen the title. I have got my sparkly Christmas tree earrings, which might not even show up thanks to my green screen. I've got my Christmassy necklace, and of course I've got my Merry Christmas You Filthy Animal top. I've always wanted to do Christmas content but never did because I'm usually flat out preparing for Christmas. But this year I went in with a game plan. So as you can tell from the title and the shirt that I just showed you, I will be ranking all 5 Home Alone movies from worst to best, so let's get into it. In 5th place is Home Alone 4: Taking Back the House, a 2002 American made-for-television Christmas family comedy film directed by Rod Daniel and written by Deborah Frank and Steve L. Hayes. It's the 4th installment in the Home Alone series, and bringing back several main characters from the first 2 films, the plot revolves around Kevin McAllister trying to defend his future stepmother's house from his old nemesis Marv and his sidekick/wife Vera. I feel bad for what I'm about to say due to the fact this was the last film done by Rod Daniels before his death in 2016, but that cannot make me lie and say this is a good film. I adore Christmas movies. I find them to be the only movie genre that's near impossible to hate. I only hate 3 Christmas movies, and this is one of them. This movie is so horrendous. Let's just start with the fact the character isn't Home Alone, so still using the title is just ridiculous. This movie was made 10 years after Home Alone 2, yet Kevin is only a year older, and his parents in this film have been broken up for 8 months, which would mean they broke up 4 months after the New York fiasco. They've gone from being a very affluent family to middle class, and Dad now only has money because he's in bed with a woman who is loaded. Thanos must have also visited the McAllister family because suddenly 2 of Kevin's siblings have been snapped out of existence. He must have also used the time stone because now the 2 remaining siblings who were in their mid to late teens are now in their early teens. How can you call this a sequel and make so many mistakes? Was it legal reasons? Because if so, then just don't do a direct sequel. If there is no reason, then they have no excuse because we all know the Home Alone movies. The kid playing Kevin is supremely annoying. The acting from everyone in this film is atrocious. The traps, which have always been a key element of the Home Alone films, are almost non-existent in this film. It's just terrible. It's one of the worst Christmas movies I've ever seen, and just a bad movie in general. Also, I'm sorry, but seeing a dad abandon his family, shack up with some new rich woman, and get engaged in the span of 8 months, then after finally realizing his soon-to-be fiancée is a bitch, ditching her and going back to his first wife, who doesn't even hesitate to take him back, is not a feel-good story. Also, the fact this is all done in front of the kids is just messed up. So yeah, I hate this movie. 4th place is Home Alone: The Holiday Heist, also known as Home Alone 5, a 2012 American made-for-television Christmas comedy film directed by Peter Hewitt and written by Aaron Ginsberg and Wade McIntyre. It's the 5th and final installment, thank God, in the Home Alone series, and in it Finn Baxter sets up booby traps to catch the ghost of his new home's former occupant, only to discover he must protect the house and his sister from 3 bumbling thieves. This one isn't as bad as the previous film, obviously, since it's at number 4, but it's not good. The story is lackluster, it doesn't feel festive at all, none of the characters are interesting or likable. There's even some dialogue in here that just isn't for children. I don't think it's tongue-in-cheek, so they probably wouldn't get it, but I don't think it should have been included. Most of all, I'm just gobsmacked that Malcolm McDowell is in this. How? Why? When you see good actors in bad movies like this, it's just depressing. This is just, it's shit. 3rd place is Home Alone 3, a 1997 American family comedy film directed by Roger Gosnell and written by John Hughes. It's the 3rd installment in the Home Alone series and the first of the sequels to not feature Kevin McAllister and his family. The plot sees Alex Pruitt, an 8-year-old child prodigy, defend his home from a band of criminals working for a North Korean terrorist organization. So this one is in the middle, not just ranking wise, but in terms of how I'd rate it. It has pros and cons. For starters, it's the only film in the series to not be a Christmas movie. This film actually takes place in January. It's January and no one in the neighborhood has taken down their Christmas decorations. This whole neighborhood is just lazy. Christmas and New Year's is over, people. It is definitely an unnecessary sequel, but the dumbest thing is the dynamic of the story. In the first 2 films, you can believe this kid has outwitted these criminals because they're absolute morons. Morons who don't even use weapons most of the time. time. They're complete idiots, so of course an 8, 9 or 10-year-old could beat them. But in this film, we're meant to believe that an 8-year-old took on 4 international criminal masterminds who were working for North Korean terrorists and won. The military couldn't catch them, but an 8-year-old can. No way. That absurdity aside, this film is actually entertaining. The kid is really good, and the traps he sets up and what he puts these characters through is highly amusing. Not to mention that Parrot deserved his own spin-off series. There are laughs, it's fun and light, but it makes no sense and it's not a Christmas movie. Does feature a young Scarlett Johansson though, for those interested. Second place is Home Alone, a 1990 American comedy film directed by Chris Columbus and written by John Hughes, and is the first installment in the Home Alone series. The film follows 8-year-old Kevin McAllister, who is mistakenly left behind when his family flies to Paris for Christmas vacation. Kevin initially relishes being home alone, but he soon has to contend with 2 burglars, Harry and Marv. For me, films 1 and 2 are always neck and neck. I adore them both, so they often switch positions. But this year I'm once again putting Home Alone in second place, but don't mistake the fact this film is terrific. This is one of my favorite Christmas movies, of which there are plenty. I watch this every year, sometimes several times during December. One of the things I love about this film is that every aspect of it is made to remind you it's Christmas. The colors in each set, from the chairs to the bed sheets and even the wallpaper, all of it is in shades of red and green, traditional Christmas colors. So wherever you look, this film feels like Christmas. You can't be sad watching this movie. It's utterly hilarious, and the score is perfection, and the soundtrack is so festive. I love the performances, everything is on point, but Macaulay Culkin is just epic in this film, and how he works off Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern never gets old. I proved this by introducing it to my eldest niece last year, and she was in hysterics. Watching her enjoy this created a whole new layer of love for this film for me. And in first place is Home Alone 2: Lost in New York, a 1992 American comedy film directed by Chris Columbus and written by John Hughes. It's the second installment in the Home Alone series and a sequel to the 1990 film. 1 year after Kevin McAllister was left home alone and had to defeat a pair of bumbling burglars, he accidentally finds himself stranded in New York City, and the same criminals are not far behind. It is so rare for a sequel to live up to the original. Not only does this do that, it at times is even better. I love that really the only difference is the setting and circumstances, but it is still to a degree the same story, just with fresh elements and new traps. I don't think watching Kevin beat the crap out of the Wet Bandits will ever get old. We have some great new cast members, especially Tim Curry, which just adds a whole new layer. I love the New York backdrop, and seeing this bright city full of Christmas lights, it makes it feel festive on a grand scale. I laugh at this film even harder than I do at the first one. It's always been a favorite. It has one of my favorite scenes, which is the brick scene. I know in real life these people would be dead, but it makes me bust a gut laughing. Again, I introduced this to my niece last year, and I think she too laughed even harder. We both obviously enjoy watching people get hurt for entertainment. We have another brilliant score from John Williams, who makes you feel like you're being hugged by the spirit of Christmas, and we have another fabulous soundtrack. There is just nothing to fault in this film or the first one. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my ranking of the Home Alone movies. We didn't need anything after the second film. I don't think anyone could have recreated the magic that Chris Columbus and John Hughes created, and it was silly to even try. The third film, I think, was helped by the fact it was written by Hughes though, but after that, yikes. I will forever watch the first 2 films any day of the week and 10 times for Christmas, but enough about me. Comment down below and tell me how you would rank the Home Alone series. Have you seen anything past film number 2? Let me know. I hope you all have a magical December and you have a beautiful season celebrating whatever it is you celebrate. Thank you as always to my supportive patrons, and until next time, happy holidays and bye!